Hello, everyone. Okay, we are here on lesson 61. And if you take a look at this page here, you will see that the next several lessons are all about participles. In fact, it's these 5 lessons and then lesson 66 after that. So we have 6 lessons about participles. What is the reason for that? Well, maybe a better question to start with is what is a participle? Because I think that there are many people who might not exactly be able to define off the top of their heads what is a participle. A participle is basically a verb form. It's a form of a verb, so an action word, a verb, but it's a verb form which can be used as an adjective or adverb. Now, in English, there are kind of 2 typical forms that you tend to see. One form tends to have an ing at the end. And so, for example, you can say the guy is walking down the street. Now, walk is obviously a verb, but you can describe a person as walking. You can say, or you can describe him as the walking man. So that's kind of using it as an adjective. If you say the man walks or the man is walking, that's the man walks. The man walks is clearly a verb, but if you say the man is walking, or that is the walking man, now it sort of has the form of an adjective, doesn't it? It kind of sounds like you're describing the man by this property that he has, which is formed from the activity that he's doing. That's a participle. That's one form of the participle. The other form of the participle tends to be things that have been done. For example, a simple example is the door is closed. Now, close is a verb. I close the door, you close the door, or we are closing the door. But if you say the door is closed, the door is obviously not doing anything. That's an adjective. It's the closed door. It has the property of being closed. So, generally speaking in English, there are these 2 forms. The current tense participle, which again tends to have ing on the end, or the usually past tense participle, such as the door is closed. However, this is not necessarily past tense. Don't make the mistake of assuming that this is always past tense, because you could make a sentence like, the door is being closed. That means that it's not closed yet, but somebody is in the process, or something is in the process of closing the door. So the door is being closed. It's not closed yet, so it's not necessarily closed is not necessarily past tense. So yeah, it can get a little confusing if you're not used to it. German also has these exact same 2 forms as English, and German standardizes them so much that they're clearly identified as participle 1 and 2. In German, they're called Partizip 1 and Partizip 2, so participle 1 and 2. And participle 1 in German conforms to the first English form that I mentioned, so the walking man. In German, you'd say der gehende Mann. And participle 2 in German is the second form I mentioned, which is typically past tense but doesn't have to be. For example, the door is closed. Die Tür ist geschlossen. So German pretty much has the same 2 forms as English. However, we have here 6 lessons ahead of us about this because Russian has 6 participle forms. And as you can see, we start off with active participles. So basically, you broadly can divide these into active participles, passive participles, and adverbial participles. But then the difference is that active can be present tense or past tense. Passive can be present tense or past tense. And then adverbial can be from imperfective verbs or perfective verbs. So basically we have, it's kind of the difference between, for these it's the difference between past and present tense, and then for this it's again perfective or imperfective. Is it being done to completion or not? So let's go ahead and get started. It can be a bit confusing if you're not used to thinking about these this way, but it's not it's not necessarily that difficult. I wouldn't describe these as that difficult, but you just need to distinguish. You need to understand these 6 types of participles are divided according to principles which should be fairly familiar by now. Active and passive is pretty clear, I think. Past tense and present tense is pretty clear. And then an adverbial participle is, yeah, in English it would be something like, I went running through the door. Running is an adverbial participle because the main verb is went, I went, but how did I go? I went running. The way that I went through the door is I went running, and so that's an adverbial participle. But anyway, let's not worry about that too much right now. Let's go ahead and get started with the first one. I just want to say, again, before we get into the lesson, I want to say this is getting into fairly advanced Russian now. I would say this is definitely getting into not even early intermediate. This is already kind of late intermediate Russian. In the next few lessons, we're going to start getting very close to what I personally think would probably count as C-level stuff. So, if you know the 6 different European levels of language aptitude or ability, so there's A1 and A2, there's B1 and B2, and then there's C1 and C2. We here are already well into B territory, so we're well into intermediate Russian, and we're going to start getting into, like I said, I think we're going to get pretty close to, the border between B2 and C1 is kind of fuzzy. These borders aren't always clearly defined, but by the time we get to around lesson 70 or so, figurative meanings of words, I think this is getting pretty close to C1 territory now, because we're starting to get into, it's no longer so much about grammatical forms. Now it's more about, figures of speech and sort of more subtle meanings of words that you get into when you're more advanced. So I think by the time we get past lesson 70 or so, this is going to be more about advanced Russian. So I think I've said something like this before, but I'm going to reiterate again because I want to emphasize this. If you have mostly been learning just Russian by going along with lessons like this, you might not be ready for stuff like this. If you feel like you can't independently have a conversation in Russian at the level of the previous lessons that we've been having at this point, you may want to stop here for a bit and not just follow along with the lessons, but actually develop your Russian at the level where you are. Because learning about these participles, it's not necessarily something that's super important in everyday Russian. You don't necessarily have to be able to use these participles when you're speaking Russian. It's a more advanced form, which is good to know. I'm not saying that you shouldn't learn it. It's obviously, it is useful to know it because it is used. And if you see somebody else using it, it's good to recognize it, understand what they mean. But this is not something that's super important to study in depth unless you are already getting to advanced Russian. So don't push yourself too hard into the super advanced stuff if you're not ready for it, because if you still can't hold a basic conversation in Russian, if you're at a restaurant or whatever and you can't hold a basic conversation in Russian there at this point, you're probably not ready for stuff like this. Go back and build up your vocabulary, get more practice in using Russian in an everyday context. Don't focus too much on just finishing these lessons, because that's not really the point here. Again, learning about participles isn't necessarily going to advance your practical Russian that much, because this is more of an advanced topic for people who want to put the finishing touches, kind of the fine points on their Russian. So if you're not already a reasonably advanced intermediate Russian speaker, you might want to take a break here and come back to this later when you're ready for it. Okay, I think I've talked enough. Let's go ahead and yeah, you can see also, because it talks about the use of these participles in formal styles of speech. That's also a kind of a hallmark of more advanced language learning, because yeah, when you get into more advanced stuff, you start learning about how you use forms in more formal styles. This is not just street Russian anymore. This is not something that you would say when you're at the corner store buying a candy bar or a bottle of water or something like that. This is something that you'd use in more specialized context. So this is specialized language learning. This is not necessarily something that you need to know if you're not already reasonably fluent in everyday Russian. Okay, let's get started. So we have here, boy, this guy looks pretty crazy. We have a journalist, which I'm going to assume is this well-dressed guy with a microphone. He's the journalist. And then we have a ученый, a scientist who really fits the picture of the mad scientist to a T. He's got those crazy glasses/goggles on, and he has what appears to be a model of DNA in his hands. So let's listen in. What are these people saying?
Здравствуйте, Степан Андреевич. Вы как человек, занимающийся исследованием в области генной инженерии, можете нам рассказать что-то новое?
Здравствуйте. Сейчас наша лаборатория, изучающая гены человека и его типы, проводит эксперименты. Это эксперименты в области стрессоустойчивости.
Объясните, пожалуйста.
Пожалуйста. Например, человек, работающий в условиях стресса, быстрее устает. Он больше нервничает, его иммунитет становится слабее.
Но это понятно даже людям, не изучающим биологию.
Да. А мы пробуем найти ген, отвечающий за стабилизацию нервной системы, чтобы понять, как мы можем изменить его.
А зачем?
Чтобы у много работающих людей был иммунитет к стрессу.
Большое спасибо за ваш рассказ.
Very interesting. Okay, this is definitely more advanced Russian. Also, another hallmark of more advanced language learning is when you start hearing more scientific language. Obviously, you're not really going to talk about science that much if you're at a very early level of language acquisition, but when you start getting into more advanced stuff, topics like politics, science, and maybe stuff like psychology or philosophy start coming more into the discussion. So we're definitely, again, getting into more advanced stuff. So the journalist says,
Здравствуйте, Степан Андреевич.
Hello, Stepan Andreevich.
Вы как человек, занимающийся исследованием в области генной инженерии, можете нам рассказать что-то новое?
Boy, these people speak really fast. Again, I think, that's also a mark of more advanced language, the fact that people start speaking at a more natural pace for them because they figure that hopefully you can keep up by now, because if not, you might not be ready for this. So, you, as a person, занимающийся, this is the participle form, or one example of the participle form. So занимать is a verb meaning to be occupied with something, or to be busy with something, or to be engaged in something, or to busy yourself or get involved in doing something. So занимающийся is a participle form describing the person who is doing that. This is basically an adjective. This is the занимающийся человек, the person who is engaged or who is involved or busy with stuff like this. So we're going to see a lot of this. And this is, in this case, so you take занимать, which is the basic form, you take the T off the end, and then you add ющийся. That's the participle form. And then исследованием, so researching in the field of genetic генной инженерии, genetic engineering. Can you tell us something new? So, can you, as a person involved in the research in the field of genetic engineering, can you tell us something new?
Здравствуйте. Сейчас наша лаборатория, изучающая гены человека и его типы, проводит эксперименты.
Okay. Hello. Now our laboratory, and the word he said here was изучающим. Изучать means to study, and so изучающим is, again, a participle form meaning studying. Our laboratory is studying. And you could theoretically turn this around in English and say that's the studying laboratory. Although that would sound weird. It wouldn't really make much sense if you say it in English like that, or you probably would never hear somebody saying it like that. But you could say it. This is the laboratory which is studying. Study is a verb, but studying here is being used as an adjective. So he's saying our laboratory is studying genes. Oh, гены человека, human genes, genes of human beings, и его типы, and its types, or his types. Проводить эксперименты, so conducting experiments.
Это эксперименты в области стрессоустойчивости.
Okay, so this experiment is in the, I believe this means in the area of, let me just check because I just want to make sure that that I get this right. Because oblast might be a familiar word if you know anything about Russian geography, because, yeah, so the Russian word oblast is probably familiar to you if you've been to Russia or if you know anything about Russian geography. You probably know this word as something kind of like what Americans would call a state. So the United States of America is divided into 50 states. In Canada, the equivalent is a province, and in other countries may use different terms. But basically, an oblast is the basic way of dividing up a country in Russia and also in Ukraine and some other countries like that. So an oblast is kind of like a state or a province in the country. But here, they're using the word oblast to mean area or field of study. So oblast it's not only a geographic word, it's also a word meaning a field, like a scientific field. So here, he's saying these experiments are in the field, v oblasti, stressustойчивости, stress resistance, basically, stress tolerance.
Объясните, пожалуйста.
Explain, please.
Пожалуйста. Например, человек, работающий в условиях стресса, быстрее устает.
Okay. So the word he said there was работающий. Another participle form. So here he says пожалуйста, meaning like the journalist said, explain please, so he says пожалуйста back as sort of a way of saying I'd be glad to. Например, for example, человек работающий, so a person who is working. Работающий means working. Работающий человек, working person. So человек, работающий в условиях стресса, a person who is working in a stressful environment. Быстрее устает. Faster gets tired, so gets tired faster.
Он больше нервничает, его иммунитет становится слабее.
Okay, so he is more nervous, нервничает, he's more nervous, and his immunity becomes weaker.
Но это понятно даже людям, не изучающим биологию.
Okay. So, well, это понятно. That is understandable even to people who are not studying biology. Again, изучающие, studying. This is understandable even for people who are not studying biology. So he's saying, well, that's not a great scientific breakthrough. That's something that's been known to the world. You don't need a scientist to tell you that. That's kind of common knowledge.
Да, А мы пробуем найти ген, отвечающий за стабилизацию нервной системы.
Okay, so the scientist admits, yes, but we are trying to find the gene, again, find the gene, and then the word he said here was отвечающий. So, ответ means like to answer, but also in this sense it means like responsible. Because if somebody is responsible, you can say they're answerable to something. So answerable is kind of like it's not a very much used word, but here it means like more like responsible. So we try to find the gene which is responsible for stabilization нервной системы, stabilization of the nervous system.
Чтобы понять, как мы можем изменить его.
So in order to understand how we can изменить, change him, or change it, how we can change the nervous system.
А зачем?
But why?
Чтобы у много работающих людей был иммунитет к стрессу.
Aha. So that много работающих людей, so that people who are working a lot, so that much working people can be immune to stress.
Большое спасибо за ваш рассказ.
Thank you very much for your explanation, or for what you've told us. Okay, so I hope it's pretty clear. This is definitely, like I said, I know I keep saying, but this is definitely a more advanced level of the language. If you're not ready for this, you might not want to take this on, because this is going to be quite a step up in challenge from what we've seen before. But, I mean, I think the points are clear. I think this is pretty well displayed. I think it's pretty clear what these words mean, even if you've never seen them. Okay, it's clear. Изучающим, so studying, работающий, working, and so on. Yeah, these correspond pretty directly to English participles with ing on the end. So it's pretty clear what it is, but still, the language is pretty advanced. So, okay, here we go. Юрист – это человек. So a jurist is a lawyer, basically. So a lawyer is a person who, изучающий правду, who studies truth. Занимающийся юристами, or изучаешь право. These words, let me try to get a translation for these, because these words are obviously different, but I think the meaning between them is a bit subtle. Let me just quickly check. Yeah, so pravda is truth, and so this is a bit of a thing that they put in here to confuse you. A jurist is not somebody who is studying pravdu, or pravda, the truth, but somebody who's studying pravo, law, or I think the equivalent English word is jurisprudence or something like that. Занимающийся юристами is more like somebody who is practicing law. So I guess it could be either of these. It could be somebody who is practicing law or somebody who studies law. But I think, yeah, what they're looking for here is the third option here, изучающий право. So a jurist is a person studying law. Philatelist, so a philatelist, how do you pronounce that? I don't even know how to pronounce that in English, is somebody who, so собирающий. So собирающий means to collect, doesn't it? Let me just quickly make sure that that's correct, but I'm pretty sure, it's a philatelist. I've seen this word, but I don't think I've ever heard it spoken, so I actually don't even know how to pronounce this in English. But a philatelist is a person who collects marki, stamps, philateliu, philately, or открытки, like what is Открытки. Let me see. What is that? I mean, it's a plural of открытка. I'm just trying to see what is открытка. Oh, postcards. I see. Okay, so a philatelist is somebody who collects stamps, philately, or postcards. Well, I don't know what philately is, but anyway, they collect marki, they collect stamps. Ихтиолог. Это человек. Okay, so this is... Again, this is a scientific word which... I've seen it in English, but what is the English word for this? An ichthyologist. An ichthyologist is somebody who, собирающий рыб, who is collecting fish, изучающий рыб, who is studying fish, or любящий есть рыбу, somebody who is loving to eat fish. Well, yeah, obviously, an ichthyologist. I don't know how to pronounce this in English either, but an ichthyol, something like that, is somebody who studies fish. And then a programmist, a programmer, is a person who, работающий по программе, works on programs, любящий играть на компьютере, who loves to or likes to work, likes to play on the computer, or создающий программы, who, that's not collects programs. What is создающий? Let's see. Yeah, like is making them? But to make something is usually делает. Let's see. Yeah, it's a form of создавать. Okay, I guess it's like to create. Yeah, so programmist, a programmer, is a person who works on a program, who likes to play games on the computer, or who creates programs. Well, probably all of the above, but I guess the correct answer is somebody who makes programs, right? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so those are the right answers. Oh, you know what? I just realized. I'm sorry, I just realized there's a dialogue here that I was supposed to listen to. I should have listened to the dialogue before answering the questions. Okay, well, let's go ahead and listen to the dialogue.
Мама, а юристы – это кто?
Это люди, изучающие право. А что?
Я думаю, кем я хочу быть. Мне нравится слово «филателист», но я не знаю, кто это.
Это человек, собирающий марки. Это не профессия.
А ихтиолог?
Это человек, занимающийся зоологией, изучающий рыб.
Нет, мне это не нравится. А, я знаю. Когда я вырасту, я буду программистом.
Почему, сынок?
Потому что я люблю играть в компьютер.
Okay. Okay, well, it makes sense in context. So the boy is just asking his mother, what's a jurist? And the mother says, well, a jurist is a jurist, but yeah, not a jurist, because in English, a jurist is somebody who has been selected for a jury and is not doing it as a profession. So that's a little different. But in Russian, a jurist is a lawyer. So he's saying, what's a lawyer? Well, the mother says, well, a lawyer is somebody who studies law. And the boy says, okay. Oh, I like this word, philatelist. What's that? And the mother says, a philatelist is somebody who collects stamps. It's not a profession. It's not a job or a career. And the boy says, okay, and what's an ichthyolog? The mother says, well, it's a zoologist, somebody who studies fish. And the boy says, I know, I'll be a programmist. The mother says, why? The boy says, because I like to play on the computer. Unfortunately, a programmer does not just play on the computer all day, or maybe they do, depending on your perspective and opinions on programmers, but anyway. Okay, so now here they explain how it works in a bit more detail, and obviously, as usual, we've got a large grammar table here. So yeah, we've seen words like который and которая before. So a человек, который читает книгу, a person which reads books or reads a book, is человек, читающий книгу. These phrases are equivalent. It's just a Kind of like in English, you could say a person who reads a book is a person reading a book. Yeah, it maps pretty well to the English. It's just different, slightly different phrasing, but they are equivalent. A person reading a book is a person who reads a book. And yeah, I'm not going to read all of these out loud, but I mean, you can see that they all sort of follow the same principle here. So it's kind of the same idea. Then what can be tricky is knowing how to form the participle form here, because you can see some of these add yush, some add yash and ush. I'm not going to get into the rules here. You can see the rules here, so they're basically two groups, and I'm not going to elaborate on these for too long right now. And yeah, there's past tense as well, but I think that's for the next lesson. I believe these are for the next lesson, so we don't need to worry about these right now. Not for this lesson. We'll get to these very soon in the next lesson, but not yet. Okay. Exercise 3. So now we write the correct word to fill in the so this is actually about forming the words. Now that we know what a participle is, we have an exercise where we find out or we not find out, but we practice. Hopefully we found out from the table. Now we practice forming the participles from various words. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill these in and not talk too much about it. It's just kind of something you have to get used to, but I'll just go ahead and fill these in. So, for example, the first one is это говорящий попугай. Попугай meaning parrot. So this is a talking parrot. Граждане so something самолет рейс number 3256. Просьба пройти к выходу номер 7. So граждане means citizens. This is kind of an old-fashioned word that's used for people. This is more like a word from the Soviet Union. Today you just say люди probably, or probably passengers in this context. This is actually talking to passengers at an airport. But in the Soviet Union, people in general were often just called граждане, citizens. So citizens who are встречающие, who are meeting airplane number 3256, go to gate number 7. Этот человек работающий Этот человек, работающий в банке. This is a person working in a bank. Это профессор занимается... I'm actually going to go ahead and just copy this and paste it in here because I think a lot of these actually have the same form. So let's see. Это профессор занимающийся биологией. This is a professor occupied in or engaged in biology. Люди бесплатно Okay, so помогают... Yeah, this is again... Юж. Люди, бесплатно помогающие другим, называются волонтерами. So, people who for free help people, or who help others. People who help others for free are called volunteers. Человек Let's see, this is also юж. Человек, интересующийся марками, philatelist. Okay, this is fairly obvious. We just saw this. A person who is interested in stamps is a philatelist. Yeah, you couldn't really translate this into English because this... if you stay true to the form, this would be something like a person who is interesting in stamps. But obviously in English, interesting is not a, well, I guess it is actually. It is a kind of a participle in the sense that it's someone who arouses the interest. If something is interesting, it's something which creates interest. It interests people. But yeah, you couldn't use it here because the point is not that the person is interesting, they are interested. A person who is interested in stamps. So the form doesn't quite work here, but if you do it in English, but okay. Leonid so this is okay, this is not Yush for once, this is Yash. Leonid Lyubyashi muž I Zabotlivy otец. So Leonid is a loving husband and a caring father. Okay. Эта мама готов... Okay, and this is also Yash, so I'll go ahead and put this here. Эта мама готовящая ужин. This is a mama making dinner. It's a mama making dinner. Магазин and this is also Yash. Магазин, находящийся в центре города, пользуется большой популярностью. So a shop which is located, yeah, it's like находящийся, like locating. It's being located, but you can't really say that in English. Locating is not, well, yeah, I mean, in English you'd say located. A shop located in the city center enjoys great popularity. And finally, не каждый человек умеет... Okay, and this is going back to you now, so Yush... There we go. Okay. Successfully completed the exercise, it seems. Не каждый человек, умеющий рисовать, художник. Not every person who knows how to draw is an artist. That is very true. Not every person knowing drawing, knowing how to draw is an artist. Okay. And here we go. And now we dispense with sentences altogether. We are the people dispensing with sentences. See what I did there? And now we just take the infinitive form and make the active present participle out of it. So, жить, to live. That becomes живущий, living. Заниматься, to be occupied with something or to be busy with something, becomes, oh boy, Nani mayushisia. Here you can see they put a sia form on it. Well, I guess that makes sense because zanematsia also has a sia on it. So I guess, yeah, this is not quite the infinitive form because zanemat would be infinitive. This is zanematsia. It's like to interest yourself, to be interested in something. Okay, dumat, to think. Dumayushi. No, there. Dumayushi, thinking. Смотреть, look, to look at. Смотрящий, looking. Pit, to drink. It becomes b, don't forget the мягкий знак, p. It's not p, it's p. Пьющий, drinking. Начинаться, to start or begin. Oh boy. Oh dear. This one. Okay. Начинающийся. beginning or starting. Говорит, to speak or say. Come on, there we go. Говорящий, speaking. Курить, smoke, as in the verb to smoke a cigarette or cigar or something. Курящий, smoking, a smoking person. Покупать, to buy or purchase. Покупающий, buying, purchasing. And finally, строить, to build or construct. And the participle form is строящий. There we go. Строящий, building, or not building as in a noun, not a structure, but building as in we are the people building a new house or constructing. Okay, and here we have, let's see. Right, okay, so this is kind of what we had here. You see how these sentences are equivalent? These two descriptions are the same. It's just you take the который form and turn it into a participle form. So here we do the same. We take something like, well, the example here is мой друг, который живет в Минске. My friend which lives or who lives in Minsk. Друг, живущий в Минске. Friend living in Minsk, which I believe is the capital of Belarus. So here we do the same thing. Человек, который много читает, a person which reads a lot. Человек много читающий, a person much reading. Женщины, которые болтают без перерыва. Women who talk without pause or chit-chat without pausing. That is, женщины болтающие без перерыва. Women talking without pause. That's kind of sexist, but okay. I mean, fair enough. Okay, солдат, который служит в армии. A soldier who serves in the army is a солдат, служащий is a soldier serving in the army. Дети, которые любят мороженое. Children who love ice cream or like ice cream are children, дети, любящие мороженое. Are children loving ice cream. Scroll over just a little bit. Okay. Налоговый инспектор, который приходит каждые полгода. A tax inspector which arrives every half year or every 6 months is a tax inspector. Приходящий. I told you this was difficult. This is getting a little ridiculous. Okay, is a налоговый инспектор, приходящий каждые полгода. A tax inspector arriving every half year or every 6 months. Лектор, который объясняет материал. A lecturer. Lector is lecturer. A lecturer which or who explains material is a lecturer Oh, this is actually a hard sign. That's right. This is one of those rare situations where you see an actual hard sign in Russian. Об яснающий материал. A lecturer who explains material is a lecturer explaining material. Книга, которая лежит на столе. The book lying, or book which lies on the table is a book. Лежащая. Лежащая на столе. A book which lies on the table is a book lying on the table. Архитектор, который создает шедевр. An architect who creates shedevr, like a masterpiece, masterwork, is an architector создающий. I always hit sh instead of sh. Архитектор, создающий шедевр, is an architect constructing or making a masterpiece, creating a masterpiece. Пользователь, который регистрируется в в социальной сети. I'll try this again. Пользователь, a user, который регистрируется, who registers themselves, в социальной сети, in a social network. A user who registers themselves, because in Russian, I guess when you log into something, it's like you register yourself, you log yourself in, so it's reflexive that way. Is a пользователь, a user. Oh boy. Okay, it's almost over. Let's do this. We're almost done. Yeah. Where's the G? Come on, there we go. Come on, there we go. Регистрирующийся. A user logging themselves into a social network. Oh, a user who logs themselves into a social network is a user logging into a social network. Пользователь, регистрирующийся в социальной сети. Okay. I am just about done. And finally, a коллега, который пьет кофе. A colleague who drinks coffee is a коллега пьющий кофе. Is a colleague drinking coffee. And did it not? Okay, it doesn't like that. Okay, what did I get wrong here? Let's see. What I must have made a mistake, which is not really surprising. Oh, now I have to proofread all of these. Okay, hold on. Читающий. I believe that's correct. Болтающий. I believe that's correct. Солдат. Oh. How did I get a D there? It's not sludashi, it's sluj. There we go. Okay. Sorry, that was my mistake. Soldat служащий в армии. Soldier serving in the army. Okay. I'm glad that was the only mistake. That actually was fairly straightforward. I was afraid that I would be stuck here forever looking for the mistake, but that's actually not too bad. Okay, and finally at the end we have 11 sentences where we need to choose the correct response from the three options available. So, патриот – это человек. So a patriot is a person. Пишущий статьи, берущий интервью. имеющий российский паспорт or любящий родину. Okay, so a patriot is, what is a patriot? Is a patriot a person who writes articles and conducts interviews? I don't think so. That's a journalist or an interviewer. Is a patriot a person who is a person having a Russian passport? No, that is a гражданин. We talked about that. A гражданин is a citizen. Somebody having a Russian passport is a Russian citizen, but that's not a patriot. A patriot is a person loving their родину, loving their their home country. So that's a patriot. Philatelist, a philatelist is a person who Sochi. What is Sochi? I don't think it has anything to do with Sochi, the city where they had the Olympics in Russia a few years ago. This says, let me quickly get a translation here. Oh, composes. So a philatelist is a person who composes music, who collects stamps, or who attends an institute, like who's going to university. Well, obviously it's somebody who collects stamps. We saw that before. В журнале есть статья. So in the journal there is an article, рисующий картины, рассказывающий о мире, or управляющий государством. So, let's see. In the journal, I guess like in the magazine, because magazine is a store, so in the magazine, there's an article painting pictures. No, that doesn't make any sense. Telling about the world, or governing governor, person governing a state. Okay, I would see the article is telling about the world. Mandarin, это фрукт. So this is not about Mandarin Chinese, but Mandarin the fruit. So mandarin is a fruit, растущий на юге, which grows in the south. Любящий родину, loving its home country, don't think so. Or имеющий российский паспорт, or having a Russian passport. I would like to see a mandarin orange in possession of a Russian passport. But no, obviously a mandarin is a fruit growing in the south. Растущий на юге. Художница – это женщина. So a художница. Well, actually, what is a художница? I don't know. Let's see. Oh, an artist, of course. Duh. A художница is a woman, рисующая картины, making pictures or painting pictures, танцующая в темноте, dancing in the dark. No, that was Björk. Or делающая зарядку, or performing exercise, like I guess fitness exercises. Well, Björk is an artist, and she was the dancer in the dark. But no, I guess the obvious answer here is an artist. A female artist is a woman who makes pictures. Россияне – это человек. Okay, so a Russian is a person, любящий родину, loving their home country, растущий на юге, growing in the south, or имеющий российский паспорт. Okay, here finally we get the right answer for having a Russian passport. A Russian is a person with a Russian passport. Arguably, you could also say a Russian is somebody of a different nationality, of Russian descent, but let's go ahead and not get into that. Абитуриент – это молодой человек. So an abiturient, how would you translate this? Hold on, let me quickly. Yeah, and there's not really a. I don't know that there's really an English word for this. It's kind of like, it's like a type of student, I guess. What is an abitur? Let me see. Let me see if I can get a better translation of this because I feel like this is one of those weird sort of words used in a formal setting. Like this is a word about education, and the education system in Russia is okay. Apparently, an abiturient is either somebody who is trying to enroll in a university, so somebody like a university applicant, somebody enrolling in a university, or precisely the opposite, somebody graduating and leaving the university. So, oh wait, I get it. It's somebody leaving school. It's somebody leaving high school and or somebody applying to university. That is an Abiturient. Okay, that makes sense. In German, an Abitur is like a high school diploma. So an Abiturient is, okay, this is one of those peculiarly European words meaning somebody leaving high school and transitioning into university. So an Abiturient is a young person who Любящий родину, who loves their home country. No, we already had that. Поступающий в институт is going to an institute, or служащий в армии, or is serving in the army. No, it's obviously somebody going to an institute, a university. Президент – это человек. So the president is a person, имеющий российский паспорт. So the president is somebody having a Russian passport. Любящий родину, loves their homeland, or управляющий государством. Okay, so this is the one that's the governor, the main governing politician. Композитор – это человек. So a composer is somebody who сочиняющий музыку, somebody composing music. Управляющий okay, that's the governing governor again. Or смотрящий телепередачу, концерт, spectacle. So somebody who watches television's concerts and shows. Well, obviously a composer is somebody who composes music, or somebody composing music, because it's participle. And эритель – это человек, wait, oh, no, sorry, not эритель, зритель. Zritel is, I actually don't know what a zritel is, so let's find out quickly. Oh, this is, a viewer. Zritel is a person who, сочиняющий музыку, who composes music, who watches TV shows, concerts, and spectacles, or somebody who administers the government. Okay, so this one, a viewer, is somebody who looks at television shows, concerts, etc. And finally, a journalist. Okay, here we come back to the journalist. So the journalist is the governing person? No. Is the person who collects stamps? No. The journalist is the person who пишущий статьи, берущий интервью. The journalist is a person writing articles, conducting interviews. Phew! There we go. That should theoretically be the end of the lesson, but normally there's a pop-up that says lesson completed. Did I miss something? Oh. I didn't even realize. On the very first dialogue here, I made a mistake. How did I make a mistake here? What did I do wrong? What did I do? I probably mixed up two which are similar. So let's see here. Let me check. So this should be correct. Oh, I mixed up these two about Izu. This is okay. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry, my mistake. The journalist said, why did it fly away? I put it here in this blank space here. The journalist said, это понятно даже людям, не изучающим биологию. That should have been a tip-off, but I didn't notice that. So, yeah, so that was the mistake there. There we go. And with that, the lesson is completed. Okay, sorry, my apologies, folks. I made a boo-boo. Okay, so the lesson is done. Let's go ahead and review it. This is the first dialogue between the very smart-looking journalist and that crazy scientist. The scientist sounded pretty normal. His spoken speech was very reasonable, but his appearance in the picture is quite eccentric. So dialogue 1 and dialogue 2 was we have these 4 questions here. Boy asking his mother what he should be when he grows up. This is exercise 3. This is exercise 4. And this is exercise number 5. And yeah, there was exercise 6. I guess I can click through the answers here. So yeah, so there's Patriot, the philatelist, the article in the magazine. Mandarin orange is a fruit growing in the south. An artist makes pictures. A Russian has a Russian passport. Abiturient, which is a word that I think has no direct English translation. Maybe, I guess you could say a matriculant, maybe? Is that a word in English? I don't know. A president, composer, a viewer, and a journalist. Okay, that's all. Like I said, this has been pretty tough sledding. I think the concept is clear. I think it's pretty apparent if you're a native English speaker. It's pretty apparent how you use these because it maps pretty well to the English ing participle form. But how you make these forms, like this whole exercise here with keeping track of whether it's yushi or yushia or yashi or whatever, that is very challenging. That is definitely a difficult process. So yeah, and just I feel like the whole level of language, the whole usage of language in this lesson is kind of on another level. We've gone to the next level in Russian, folks. This is now definitely if not advanced Russian, at least advanced intermediate Russian. So getting close to C1 territory here, and it's not going to get easier after this, I don't think. So hopefully you're ready for this. I don't know if I'm ready for this, to be honest, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. Hopefully we'll see each other next time on another video about learning Russian with Learn Russian. Bye-bye for now.